The mailman froze when he saw me in the driveway, barefoot, gripping a shovel in one hand and a half-eaten sandwich in the other. I wasn't angry at him, just floored by the letter he handed me. It claimed I'd built a luxury swimming pool in my backyard and owed the HOA $50,000. I live alone, grow tomatoes in cracked pots, and haven't swum since the 90s. Yet, according to the Maple Grove HOA, I'd erected a shimmering aquatic oasis behind my garage without approval. That was just the start. The envelope screamed official HOA letterhead, complete with a violation code and a fine breakdown that felt like a mafia shakedown. I sank onto my porch swing, tore into my sandwich, and stared at the number. $50,000 for a pool that didn't exist on land I'd owned for 35 years. My garage sat on a dry, uneven patch barely fit for a kiddie pool. The only blue thing back there was a weathered tarp covering straw bales to keep them dry. No water, no pipes, just dirt and hopes for a peaceful retirement. I drove to the HOA office, a former rec center, now a maze of wobbly chairs and posters scolding about weed height. I demanded to see the board. A woman with perfect curls and a smile sharp as a razor stepped forward, Victoria Langston, naturally. She waved my notice like it was a bad punchline. "Mr. Harper, your unpermitted pool's right here in the photos." Her screen showed a fuzzy satellite image, a blue blur behind my garage. "That's a tarp," I said, expecting a clerical error. She didn't flinch. "The fine stands unless you prove otherwise. Hearing's on the notice." She turned away, dismissing me. Outside, my neighbor Ray, a grizzled rancher, pulled me aside. "You're not the first. Victoria twists something on your land, slaps you with fines. Last year, she called Ed's barn a structural hazard, forced him to rebuild." My gut twisted. I'd ignored HOA nonsense, paid dues, kept my grass neat, but now they'd come for me with a $50,000 sledgehammer. I wasn't backing down. That night, I checked the tarp with a flashlight. Dry straw, a few mice, no pool. My dog Scout watched like I'd gone nuts. Maybe I had. Morning brought a county clerk letter, a lien on my land. My hands shook. They weren't just fining me. They were threatening my home, my life's work. I made coffee, stared out the window, then dug out an old folder from my desk: blueprints, surveys, permits from my 40 years as a structural engineer. I designed bridges, knew property law like my own heartbeat. Victoria wanted a fight? She'd get one. I'd battle with paper, proof, and the grit of someone who'd built dams for cities. This wasn't about money, Anna Maria, it was about truth against her petty kingdom. At the county assessor's office, a musty building smelling of paper and polish, I requested all records on my parcel. The clerk, Doris, handed me a stack thick as a phone book. The inspection form justifying the lien lacked a licensed assessor's signature, just initials, dated a Sunday when the office was closed. The pool was confirmed by a blurry Google Maps screenshot with a red circle around my tarp. Doris whispered, "Victoria's cousin worked here," pushed satellite assessments into protocol. My jaw tightened. This wasn't a mistake, it was coordinated fraud. Back home, Ray shared stories. Victoria fined a widow for unapproved lilies, another neighbor for a dangerous mailbox. Her tactic was vague bylaws twisted into fines too small for lawyers, but big enough to sting. I dragged off the tarp, exposing bare dirt, and called a local news station. A reporter, Mia, arrived, hungry for small-town drama. I showed her the notice: tarp, lien, and dry ground. She filmed, interviewed Ray about his fine gate, and jumped on the dirt for the camera, declaring, "This pool's just straw and dust." Scout barked approval. The story aired, Mia's jump going viral. Social media roasted Victoria's killer pool. That night, Victoria's black SUV crept past my house. She stormed up, heels clicking, face twisted. "You've humiliated the board." I pointed to the field. "You humiliated yourself, Victoria." I just showed the truth. Her face flared red. "This isn't over," she spat, nearly knocking over my mailbox as she peeled out. Days later, a summons arrived for an HOA meeting. I went, ready for a showdown. The community hall reeked of stale coffee, its crooked flag mocking the solemn board. Victoria sat center, flanked by 4 members, including jittery young Noah. I stood, detailing the tarp, fake inspection, lien, and news clip. Murmurs grew. I asked Noah, "Did you inspect my land?" He fidgeted, glancing at Victoria. I was told to sign, not ask. The room erupted. Neighbors shouted about fine shrubs, bike rack citations, mailbox threats. Victoria's gavel was ignored. I slipped out, her chaos self-inflicted. In my workshop, Scout at my feet, I studied my land's blueprint. A thin line marked a water main from the HOA's clubhouse crossing my field without an easement, a favor I'd allowed decades ago, unrecorded. I found the buried access hatch, installed a legal shutoff valve on my side, and turned it off. By noon, Victoria's voice rang out, raging about the clubhouse's dry fountain and toilets. I sipped coffee on my porch, Scout's head on my boot, as landscapers scrambled. Victoria marched up, accusing me of cutting their water. I asked for an easement. She had none. Drop the lien, fine, and apologize, and we'll talk, I said. She vowed lawsuits and stormed off. That night, an envelope appeared on my porch, an email from Victoria to her cousin Derek, saying, "Fine him into submission. I want that field. Call it a pool." I locked it in my safe. Pure dynamite. Noah visited, confessing Victoria bullied him into signing blank forms, threatening his garage permit. "You're not scared of her," he said. "I'm tired of being scared." This wasn't just my fight, it was for every neighbor silenced by her reign. At the county clerk's, I filed a grievance against the HOA and Victoria for fraud, lien abuse, and infrastructure misuse, including the email. Doris grinned. "This'll start something big." The clubhouse lawn yellowed, sprinklers dead. Victoria strutted, promising lawsuits, but whispers grew. My lawyer, Ellen, a retired DA who despised HOAs, called it fraud. I canvassed neighbors, collecting stories, fined arbors, flagpoles, chipped walkways. Ellen filed a suit: fraud, defamation, abuse, demanding the lien's removal. Victoria offered a quiet settlement. I pointed her to Ellen. Board members resigned, citing personal reasons. The county launched an HOA audit. Victoria called the sheriff, alleging I trespassed and damaged property. The deputy, familiar with her viral meltdown, checked my valve and papers, then said, "I've waited years for someone to take her down." A court letter arrived. The lien was unlawful, the fine dismissed, an HOA audit ordered for possible embezzlement. News aired my story, showing the dry field and Victoria's tantrum. Neighbors honked, one leaving bottled water labeled "Stay Hydrated, Hero." Noah found a USB in the clubhouse. Unedited recordings of Victoria bragging about fake fines and targeting my land for a community gazebo. In court, Ellen dismantled the fraud, playing Victoria's voice plotting my ruin. Noah testified, steady, exposing her coercion. The judge ruled the lien fraudulent, ordered Victoria to pay damages, dissolved the HOA board, and recommended criminal probes. Victoria sat deflated, her power gone. Neighbors clapped outside court. Mia asked for a statement. "This wasn't revenge," I said. "It was about standing firm." Victoria resigned. The board reformed under Noah. I helped redesign irrigation, ensuring no pipes crossed private land without consent. Kids called me pool guy, laughing. A gift appeared, a plastic kiddie pool with a rubber duck and a sign, "Caution, deep justice." I kept it, Scout drinking from it like royalty. Victoria moved away, her house sold cheap. At a community barbecue, Noah thanked me for showing what standing up means. I raised my cup, staying seated. The fake pool was gone, but truth had built something real, a neighborhood free to breathe, rooted in justice, not rules.